Hello, my dear students. I'm Dr. Vaishali Bharambe. I've been teaching anatomy for more than 25 years and I love it. Today, we're going to talk about portocaval anastomosis, which stumps many of you. I don't know why, but let's solve that problem today. Portocaval anastomosis. So, just remember MCQs and notes on every topic that is taught, is available in the form of handouts on my website, vbanatomy.com. You can access it there. So in case you want to watch the video and then want the notes of it, then you can access them there. Right. So question number 1, the most important. What the hell is portocaval anastomosis? What's going on? Let's understand. So there is a portal venous system which is draining blood from your gut, and there is a rest of the systemic circulation. There is a connection between these two, and these connections are called portocaval anastomosis. Okay, anastomosis, that's another thing that stumps you. Anastomosis are when you're talking about many of them. Anastomosis is when you're talking about one of them. Clear? Okay. So portocaval anastomosis is a way by which blood bypasses the liver and still drains into the systemic circulation in case of portal hypertension. Again, you're wondering, what is she talking about? Let's understand. You're going to enjoy this lecture. Okay, so the portal venous system is responsible for draining blood from your gut, from your spleen, pancreas, everybody. It drains into the liver. Blood from the portal vein passes through the liver and drains through hepatic veins into the inferior vena cava. This is a lot of words, isn't it? Let's use images. I always tell you images help you to learn faster. So here's blood from your gut except your anal canal, the lower end, okay? And your spleen, pancreas, gallbladder. Blood from here is draining into the portal vein. The portal vein is dividing into branches, releasing this blood into the liver. Liver is metabolizing everything that has come into it and finally releasing the blood through right, middle and left hepatic veins into the inferior vena cava. The inferior vena cava now releases the blood into the systemic circulation. Got it? So this is the concept map of portal vein. Now, what happens sometimes? Sometimes what happens is liver becomes cirrhotic. Now liver has become hard. It's not allowing blood to flow through it easily. When this happens, a lot of blood is still wanting to flow through portal vein. So what happens is a lot of back pressure on all those organs from where blood is trying to drain into the portal vein. This back pressure is called as portal hypertension. Clear? Okay, so now there's a lot of backup of blood which is pushing into the portal vein. Come on, flow through, push the blood through the liver. Liver saying, no, I don't have the time, nor do I have the energy to allow the blood to flow through me. Now what's going to happen? Now, in case you need to know more about the portal vein, please see my lecture, Surgical Anatomy of Portal Vein. Continuing with the fact that we are stuck in portal hypertension. Okay, so when there is obstruction or there is resistance to flow of blood through the liver, the blood pressure in the portal system rises and is called as portal hypertension. The blood now begins to seek other ways of flowing through the heart. If the liver is not allowing us to go, allowing the blood to flow through, somewhere it has to go, right? So it begins to look for other ways. Okay, all these other ways by which the blood finally reaches the heart are called as sites of portocaval anastomosis. Again, take a look. This is where we were stuck, portal hypertension, pressure. Blood now makes its way around the liver, and finally drains into systemic circulation. Portocaval anastomosis. It does not mean that it has to drain only into inferior vena cava. No, it can drain into any other vein also. Superior vena cava, azygous vein. Finally, it has to make its way into the systemic circulation. All these sites are sites of portocaval anastomosis. Who are we bypassing? We are bypassing the liver. Okay. So, what are the sites where all this can happen? The sites where this can happen are sites where you will find the portal circulation reaching close to caval circulation. Okay. So, where? Why are we looking for all these sites? We're looking for them because as the portocaval anastomosis begins to get utilized, the blood vessels become enlarged, tortuous, and begin to bleed and cause a lot of complications. So we need to observe their state of health. That's why we go looking for them. Okay. So, sites of portocaval anastomosis. I hope you've understood the concept that these anastomosis will be brought into play when there is portal hypertension, which is usually a result of conditions like liver cirrhosis. So, now blood is looking for ways of escaping by bypassing the liver. So these are enumeration of all the sites where you will get portocaval anastomosis. One is at the lower end of esophagus, one is at the rectum, anal canal, paraumbilical veins, which I have discussed in my lecture on liver, retroperitoneal, bare area of liver, and so on. Out of which the first three are places where anastomosis shows particularly gruesome symptoms. Okay, so we'll discuss those and then we will again run through the others as well. So let's begin at what happens at the lower end of esophagus. Portocaval anastomosis. For those of you who are a little confused, relax, drink a sip of your coffee, tea, whatever rocks your boat, and get yourself into the game because this is very, very important. One fine day you will be sitting in the casualty with a patient coming into the casualty vomiting blood. And if you don't know what is portocaval anastomosis, the history that he is a known alcoholic will cease to have any relevance to you, which is criminal. You need to know this well. So, esophageal anastomosis. So, it's the first site of portocaval anastomosis, which happens at the lower end of esophagus. Come take a look at it here. So, this is an anastomosis between esophageal veins, which drain into left gastric, which drains into portal vein. And the esophageal veins here on the top, which drain into the azygous system. So, azygous system veins from the top, portal system veins from below. They are anastomosing at the lower end of esophagus. One day, there is portal hypertension. Now, this becomes a way by which blood begins to make its way up. Because the portal vein is not allowing further flow, blood begins to pass through these veins. What happens to these veins now? One more time, I want you to understand the anastomosis well. Here is your left gastric vein. These are the esophageal veins draining into it. Here is your esophageal vein, which is draining into the azygous system. This is the anastomosis. Clear? So now what happens? When these blood vessels are forced to have so much blood flowing through them, they become enlarged, they become tortuous. And this condition here is called as esophageal varices. And sometimes the varices rupture, causing the patient to come to the OPD with massive vomiting. It's in fact one of somewhat, unless caught in time, it's fatal. This is called hematemesis. Take a look at what is happening in the patient. Can you see that these blood vessels are so tortuous? Can you see these blood vessels enlarged and tortuous? Now what do? You put in a scope inside to see what's going on. What will you see? You will see blood vessels which have been, instead of being straight, there are tortuous, dilated. Okay, and these are the veins which will tear and rupture, causing the patient to get hematemesis. That's one thing you want to avoid. You want to avoid that hematemesis. You want to avoid that emergency. So what is esophageal banding? Please read up and find out. That's one word you should know. Moving on to the next site of portocaval anastomosis. I'm sure you've already heard of this. It's an anastomosis happening in the anorectal region. Okay. So where is this? This is in the walls of the rectum and anal canal, where remember, this is your pectinate line. Blood above the pectinate line drains through superior rectal vein into the inferior mesenteric vein, which, as you recall, drains into splenic vein. Similarly, below pectinate line, you have blood draining into middle and inferior rectal veins, which drains into the internal iliac, into the systemic circulation. So you have blood draining into portal vein. Below pectinate line, you have blood draining into internal iliac or systemic blood. Okay. So in the wall of the rectum anal canal above pectinate line, you have radicals of superior rectal vein. Okay. Now what happens? Take a look. Okay. Again, another diagram which shows you the same thing. Here is where you should focus. This is your superior rectal vein. See how it's draining into the inferior mesenteric vein, which is finally draining into the portal vein. And here are the middle and inferior rectal veins draining into the systemic circulation. Whenever there is portal hypertension, blood is unable to pass through portal vein and begins to collect in the walls of rectum, becoming tortuous, varicosed, and begin to now herniate into the lumen of the anal canal, producing what is called as internal piles. A very common condition, you've all heard of it, and this is portal hypertension, is a very important cause of internal piles. For those of you who want to know more about piles, anatomy of piles and hemorrhoids, please access my lecture on piles and hemorrhoids. Okay. So that's two sides of portocaval anastomosis we've understood. One is lower end of esophagus, one is rectum anal canal. There is another very important site, which you will see so many cases of this, paraumbilical anastomosis. If you recall, there are paraumbilical veins here, okay, which are draining into the left branch of portal vein. I think all of you should access my lecture on portal vein so that you will be able to understand all this easily. It's a very short lecture, you should see it. So paraumbilical vein is draining blood into the left branch of portal vein. Therefore, if there is portal hypertension, it is transferred onto the paraumbilical veins, which now in the region of the umbilicus anastomose with the veins of the anterior abdominal wall. Which veins? Superior epigastric, lateral thoracic. In the lower part of abdomen, superficial epigastric veins. All these are all now available for paraumbilical veins. Take a look again. This is your paraumbilical vein, which is passing through the falciform ligament, reaching the umbilicus, anastomosing with superficial abdominal veins. Okay. So if it cannot go through this way, it begins to go through this way, through these veins, trying to reach into the systemic circulation. So what happens? Through the lateral thoracic veins, it begins to drain into axillary vein. Imagine your portal circulation blood is now passing into the axillary vein or through the internal thoracic vein into the superior vena cava or through the superficial epigastric, through the inferior epigastric into the inferior vena cava. And thus, blood has started to bypass liver through superior vena cava, through inferior vena cava to finally reach the heart. Thus, this bypassing causes these veins to become very dilated and tortuous, and they can be seen on the patient's abdomen as this kind of tortuous veins, which are called as caput medusae appearance. Caput medusae appearance. Who was Medusa? Now the lecture is getting interesting, isn't it? I'm sure you know that there was this mythological creature called Medusa who instead of hair had snakes around her head. Right? So this is supposed to be somewhat similar to her appearance and hence it's called as caput medusa appearance. Right. So this is an anastomosis through the paraumbilical veins which are draining into the left branch of portal vein. Continuing with our discussion, remember when blood in these paraumbilical veins is squeezed out, suppose your patient is lying and you begin to squeeze out all the blood, okay? And when you lift up your hand, from which direction will the blood fill back? Because it's coming from paraumbilical draining outwards, you will find the blood filling back in this direction, from the center towards the periphery, okay? So that's typically an indication that this is a portocaval anastomosis. Right. Other sites of portocaval anastomosis I won't discuss in too much detail here. Another site is retroperitoneal anastomosis. Take a look here, where you can see anastomosis between veins of colon which are draining into the portal vein and between the veins, retroperitoneal veins, which are draining into inferior vena cava. This happens by formation of small veins called veins of Retzius, MCQ. Okay. Next, the bare area of liver. Now, I've recently released a lecture on bare area of liver. You can see that at the bare area, there's a communication between branches of portal vein and the diaphragmatic veins. So, these now begin to act as another site for portocaval anastomosis. Now, within the falciform ligament, as the paraumbilical veins flow, they also form an anastomosis with diaphragmatic veins, through a network of small veins called accessory portal system of Sappi, MCQ. Okay. Now, if you recall, if you've seen my lecture on fetal circulation, I have explained to you how blood from the placenta at one point bypasses the liver, trying to reach oxygenated blood to the heart. Because liver is right there in the middle. If it flows through liver, much of the oxygen gets utilized. So what the body does is it creates a duct called ductus venosus, through which the blood bypasses the liver conveniently, draining directly into the inferior vena cava. So this is a site of portocaval anastomosis which is seen in fetal life, ductus venosus. Finally, intrahepatic. Within the liver also there is a portocaval anastomosis happening. Okay, it's usually not of significance, but when the liver disease becomes too much, then there is this anastomosis also becomes functionally relevant. A few terms you should know in relation to portocaval anastomosis. Very many times you find patient coming with massive abdomen, that's stretched, tense abdominal wall. The abdomen is now filled with a fluid. What is this? There is accumulation of fluid in the peritoneal cavity, which is called as ascites, seen in cases of portal hypertension. Okay, this is an indication that portocaval anastomosis is really not functioning well. So what will you do? You can do what is called as portocaval shunt. So again, this is another term you should know. Can you see that the portal vein here is entering into the liver? That's the hepatic vein draining into IVC. You can see that a shunt has been put in between the two, bypassing the liver. This is called as portosystemic shunt. Now, this is often put through the jugular vein. You know, nowadays everything is not operated. They just put in tubes through the blood vessels and try and place the shunts in place. This is called transjugular intrahepatic portosystemic shunt, TIPS. Okay, I'm just introducing the terms. I'm sure there are much more qualified people to discuss details of this with you. But just these terms like ascites, portosystemic shunt are some things you should know, some terms you should know. So with this lecture, we have discussed the portocaval anastomosis, very, very clinically relevant. I hope you watch this more number of times to get your funding clear. Remember, MCQs and notes on these topics are now available on my website, VB Anatomy. So the notes are available in the form of handouts. So in case you watch the lecture and you feel like triggering your brain with a word, then the word documents are available there. Okay, the word is available in the form of handout. So do access this as well on vbanatomy.com. So for the rest of Anatomy of Liver, please watch Anatomy of Liver, which is a long lecture which is giving you the entire detailed anatomy of liver. If you've liked the lecture, do like and subscribe to my channel. Share your thoughts in the comment section. Share the video with a friend. Students, I need this feedback to know whether I'm really helping you or not. Okay. All right then. I love taking this class. I hope it helped you a lot. Okay. Thank you. And I'll see you across the screen in some other video. Bye.